Welcome back to Having a Cup of Joe with Joe, and I'm Joe. Today I'll be telling the story about how I sold everything to move to Thailand a couple of times. It's a pretty interesting story, so stick around and hear about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification if you can. If not, I still appreciate your help, appreciate your views. Enjoy the story. Let's get into it. Cheers. Okay, in 2008, I accumulated a bunch of stuff by the time I was 23 in 2008. And I had a pickup truck, I had 1,000 wine goblets, over 1,000-piece knick-knack collection, Zippo collections, lighter collections, all kind of crazy stuff. But by 2009-ish, my family was getting ready to move out of our house from Freeport to somewhere in Lower Burrell. And I was getting ready to come to Thailand to meet my girlfriend for the first time, which is now my wife. And it was amazing how much stuff I really had. I had like close to 2,000 pages of lyrics. So, thick binder, handful of drawings, and all my other stuff. Well, I started taking some of my stuff to pawn shops and selling it because I didn't want to have to lug a bunch of stuff around. What happened is I ended up keeping the wine goblets I liked. Out of 1,000, I kept like 30. And the rest that I knew were worth money because I collected some decently valuable wine goblets over the years. I got lucky. I sold them, or I gave a handful away to people I knew that would really enjoy them. And then after that, I went through my knickknacks, started getting all my knickknacks handed out. And there was a time that, I don't know, I was just making a little bit of money, so I was spending money on stupidness, like little trinkets and stuff I knew that was worth money. Anyway, time moves on, and I sold my pickup truck. I ended up accumulating a car from one of my ex-girlfriends. She ended up with my truck. I hated the car. It was fuel efficient, but I hated it. We ended up breaking up, so I traded the car in on a Maserati. It was an 89 TC by a Maserati. It looked like a LeBaron. Beautiful car, amazing. It was fast as heck. And I only got to drive it a couple times because the caliper blew out on me and the price of the caliper, and that's a whole nother story and a whole nother video, so look forward to that sometime in the future. But this Maserati just wasn't feasible for me, and I was getting ready to go to Thailand. And I was like, you know what, let's just get rid of it. I hopped on the internet, I found me a collector that has 3 of them and one in mind to finish it up. So I ended up selling it to him and moving to Thailand for about 6 months. But I flew into Thailand after I sold it to him and landed. I was supposed to be there a couple weeks, ended up being like 6 months. I came home right around late 2009, early 2010. And in that time of being home, 4 or 5 months, work wasn't working out. I just wasn't getting good work. So I went and got my CDL. And I was driving a truck. I went to OTR for a while. I was like, man, what the heck? I ain't making the money they said I would. So I hopped off the road and went local. I applied for a job driving dump truck with my dad. But the funny thing is I had another ticket back to Thailand. So I got off the road, went to Thailand for 2 weeks, came back, went to work driving truck. Ended up working a whole year, being gone a whole year in 2011. But in that year, late 2011, 2012, I ended up getting a trailer in the same place as my dad. He lived in front of me. I lived in back. Later in life, I gave that trailer to my brother, moved up to a trailer next to him. My cousin had one on the other side of him. My other cousin has one down the way. We had a whole family corner there. Anyway, I ended up getting this trailer, and it was cool. It needed a bunch of work. I got it for $800. I put a bunch of money into it to make it livable. After I made it livable, I started, accumulating knickknacks. Like, there was like, what was it, an energy drink from ICP, a couple like different things, knickknacks and stuff from psychopathic records I collected, and I ended up with a Chrysler 300. That was cool. It wasn't the square body; it was the like slanted nose one, but it was still an awesome car. I got it cheap, real cheap, like $500. I got lucky. There was a friend that was getting rid of it, but I went back to Thailand. I was like, man, I'm ditching this car. So I sold the 300, moved my brother and his girlfriend at the time in, told them, pay the bills, I'll be back sometime. Like, all right, they moved in. And then I ended up being gone like 4 to 6 months. I got called back when the weather broke, and they were like, get your ass home, let's go, let's get to work. I was like, all right. I was running dump truck, running dirt and lime, like limestone. Anyway, I come home and I'm working, I'm accumulating more stuff. Ben's, just like I said, we ended up getting into a board game phase where we were getting board games and having board game nights where our friends were coming over and hanging out and all that. Like, so I was buying all kind of stuff like that. Anyway, I ended up accumulating even more stuff. My brother had an RV, and I'm like, it was a 24-foot RV. Let me just move in there for a little while. And I gave the whole house to them because the bedroom in the house was super tiny. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to go back to Thailand. And I just had all this shit. I didn't know what to do with. So I took a bunch of the vintage board games that I accumulated through flea markets and stuff, sold that to the pawn shops. The newer ones I either kept or threw away. On top of that, I ended up, when I was truck driving for the first 5 years, I was buying gold and diamonds on the side for like future investment. I was like, man, I don't have nowhere to store this safely, so I had some friends that wanted to be invested into it, so I was like, dude, you buy it for me a little bit under what the price is worth, I'll give it to you. And I ended up selling that. But yeah, I accumulated old jewelry, a couple wedding bands from people that didn't want their wedding bands no more because they weren't married anymore or whatever. I had a handful of stuff. I ended up getting rid of it. Started whittling everything down again because I knew, like, man, this is too much. I went from like 8 bins, like the big bins, back down to like 4. And I had a friend that lived right next to my dad, Kevin. He ended up passing away, and I ended up buying his house. And I moved out of the RV up to there. And when I moved up to there, it was like 2017. Because 2016, I went back to America, and we started a business, and I was there up until COVID, when COVID shut our business down, and I got stuck in America. So there was like 5 years I was gone. But since I was gone 5 years, I ended up accumulating a motorcycle, a house, a bunch of furniture, kitchenware, like refrigerator, washer, dryer, you name it. I ended up having it, because I was living there for 5 years. And over COVID, I thought it'd be a good idea to buy a 66 T-Bird and a motorcycle. Well, over them 5 years, I definitely wish I would have saved all the money that I spent in my adventures, but you know what? It kept me happy and kept me busy. But yeah, from 2016 to 2022, I hauled in a lot of stuff. Like, when I'm over there, I like working on stuff. So, like I said, I bought the T-Bird, I bought the bike, I had my van, I had the house, I had a dog. my dad's taking care of my dog. My mom and dad got my dog. But I had a dog. There was so much stuff to go through, like bins and bins. Like I was back up to like 12 bins of stuff. And then I came back to Thailand in like late 2022, and I whittled everything down to like 3 or 4 bins and a T-Bird. I sold my bike to my best friend Mark, and it was his uncle's bike anyway before that. But anyway, I sold my bike to my best friend Mark. My T-Bird I put in my dad's driveway to store, and I came back to Thailand. And I was here for like 3 years. I went back to America, and the only thing I had left was a T-Bird, and then I bought another bike, so I had a bike to get rid of. And I had 4 bins, and I got whittled down to 1. I ended up burning all my lyrics because I'm never gonna do nothing with them. I enjoyed them while I had them, and now I'm releasing them back to the universe. So I burned them to release them back to the universe. It was actually a very satisfying moment. Holding on to them kind of felt wrong. You know what I mean? Like I wrote them all down, but yeah, I guess my family could have went through them when I passed away, but I don't know. I think they're better off in the universe. But anyway, like I really got rid of everything. The only thing I truly kept in my bin this time was my Zippo collection, a couple lighters, like a Camel lighter and stuff from the 80s, my photo album, my leather jackets, my ICP hats, my ICP shirts, and what else did I do? Just a couple little knickknacks that my nephews gave me, like prank gifts and stuff like that. I really got rid of everything. Like I sold the T-Bird because I was basically what happened is I sold my trailer to my cousin. My cousin moved out. My brother moved in my trailer and then bought a house. And when my brother bought a house, that's when I moved my car out there. And I knew I was coming back to Thailand, so I sold my T-Bird. That was a hard one to do, to sell the T-Bird, but I knew I had to do it. I had bills to pay, plus I wanted to get back to Thailand. So this dude hit me up, come up, and he rebuilt it already. It looks amazing. But I got rid of the T-Bird. After I got rid of the T-Bird, my brother bought my motorcycle from me. And like I said, I kept my helmet, my leather jackets, stuff like that. But I got 1 bin and one duffel bag with clothes and 1 bin of knickknacks and stuff. But I had no more cars, no more bikes, nothing. Like I got rid of it all to make sure I had a little bit of money to get back here with and to have. So like the bottom line is I'm not very materialistic. I accumulate stuff, and then when I'm ready to move on, I get rid of it, other than a few very, very sentimental things, and they're usually small, so it's easy to store, because I'm always away. Don't matter if it's here in Thailand or in America, I don't have a whole lot. I don't like having a whole lot. Like, I just end up selling it. Like, I had that Keyway and a couple scooters. Now, I kind of regret selling all of them and not keeping one. But I needed a plane ticket to go back to America. I wanted to help my brother with his house. But it is what it is. And like I said, I'm not materialistic, so it was just like easy come, easy go, I guess. And the biggest thing is if you're going to travel around a lot like me, you're going to have to come to terms with selling everything or have the money to pay for everything while you're gone. I don't know. I don't have money like that, so I would just sell everything. Now, let's think about it real quick. What else did I forget that I sold that I had? 2 motorcycles, a T-Bird, a Maserati, a Chrysler 300, a trailer, close to 1,500 wine goblets, because there's 2,000, I kept 30 and gave a bunch away to friends. So close to 1,500 wine goblets. Gold, old jewelry, and some diamonds, and what else? I think that's about it. But yeah, I don't know. Every time I accumulate something, if I need money, I'm not afraid to sell it to make sure I can pay a bill. Sometimes after I sell stuff, I'm like, man, I wish I would have held on to that. But in the long run, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Nothing lasts forever, so enjoy it while you have it, and enjoy when the next thing comes along. And right now, I'm just waiting for the next thing to come along. Well, everyone, I think that's about it. That's pretty much the story of how I sold everything to come to Thailand a couple of times. This has been Having a Cup of Joe with Joe, and I'm Joe. Have yourself a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Cheers.